Listen close now, because this isn't a story you'll find in cookbooks. It's a story about a kitchen that was almost empty and somehow never let anyone go hungry. Back in 1953, in a little worn-down house tucked into the hills of Kentucky, there lived a woman named Edna Watkins. Now, she didn't have much. Lord knows she didn't. A few sacks of flour, a tin of lard, and whatever the dirt behind her house decided to give that season. But every evening, like clockwork, she put food on the table for 7 mouths. 7. And not once did her children hear her complain. Now, you might be thinking the 1950s were all shiny cars and smiling families on television, but that wasn't the truth for folks like Edna. No, sir. The truth lived in kitchens with creaky floors and empty cupboards, where women stood before sunrise trying to turn almost nothing into just enough. And oh, the things they made. There was a little girl over in Tennessee, about 9 years old, came home from school one day, stomach growling, opened the bread box, and that was it. Just white bread, a bit of lard, some sugar in a paper sack. So she did what children of that time learned to do. She spread that lard thick across the bread, sprinkled sugar on top, pressed it together, and ate it slow. That wasn't a snack. That was survival dressed up as something sweet. And she ate it every day for 2 years. Now let me tell you about Clara, a widow out in Missouri. She had 4 potatoes, half an onion, and a pinch of salt. That's all she had to feed her boys. She dropped those potatoes into a pot of water and let them boil until they gave up everything they had, thickening that water into something that looked like soup and felt like comfort. No cream, no butter, just patience. Her boys never complained either, because when you're hungry, warm food feels like a blessing. And oh, those factory towns, Pittsburgh, Ohio, places where men carry their lunches in dented metal pails. Inside, fried bologna sandwiches. Now don't you turn your nose up at that. That slice of bologna hit a hot pan and curled up like it was proud of itself, edges crisping, smell filling the whole house. Slap it between 2 slices of bread, maybe a swipe of mustard if you were lucky, and that was lunch. To them, that was steak. But if you really want to understand those days, you've got to understand this. Nothing was wasted. Not a crumb, not a peel, not a drop. Stale bread, that became pudding. Leftover beans, breakfast. A ham bone from Sunday, flavor for the whole week. Women didn't read recipes, they read cupboards. And then there was the meal, the one everybody knew. Potatoes, onions, maybe a hot dog if the week had been kind. You'd dice those potatoes, throw one in a skillet with a bit of grease, listen to that sizzle like it was telling you everything was going to be all right. Add onions till they softened sweet, toss in that hot dog for a bit of salt and hope, and there it was, a full pan, a full table, a full family. That meal didn't belong to one person. It belonged to anyone who ever stood in a quiet kitchen and refused to let their family go to bed hungry. Now here's the thing most folks don't realize. Those children sitting at those tables, they didn't know they were poor. They just knew Mama made something warm. They just knew there was enough. And years later, long after the cupboards were full and the world had changed, you'd find those same children, grown up now, standing in their own kitchens, boiling noodles with butter, making potato soup, frying up eggs between 2 slices of bread. Not because they had to, but because it tasted like something they couldn't quite name, something safe, something loved. You see, those meals weren't just food. They were proof. Proof that you could take the smallest things, flour, water, a bit of fat, and build a life out of them. Proof that love doesn't come wrapped in fancy packages or served on fine china. It comes in a chipped bowl passed around a table where everyone gets a share. And maybe, just maybe, that's why those simple meals still taste better than anything you can buy today. Because back then, every bite carried a promise. We may not have much, but we've got enough for each other. Now I want you to think for a moment. Really think, not just answer quick. Did your family ever have a meal like this? Something simple you ate again and again, not because you loved it, but because it was always there. What was it? Was it eggs and bread, beans and rice, maybe something your mother or grandmother made without ever measuring a thing? And tell me this, did you ever realize at the time what it meant, or did it only hit you years later that those meals were doing more than feeding you? They were holding things together. Who was the person in your home that made sure there was always something on the table, no matter what? Do you remember the smell of their cooking, the sound of the pan, the way everyone sat down together? And be honest with me, is there a dish you still make today, not because it's fancy, not because it's impressive, but because it feels like home? I'd really love to hear your story. And before you go, let me just say this from the heart. If you've already subscribed and been sitting here listening to these stories with me, thank you, truly. It means more than you know to have you here, sharing these memories and keeping them alive. And if you're new, well, pull up a chair and stay a while. Go ahead and subscribe, give this a like, and share it with someone who might remember these meals or someone who needs to hear what they really meant. Because these stories, they're not just about food, they're about people, and we don't let those fade. All right now, I'll let you get on with your day. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you again real soon.